Alright class, today we're going to go through and design a deck using some tools that are available online through Menards. So first step, of course, is to go to Menards website. So just type in menards.com and their website will pop up. Notice that they've got things by department, project center, weekly ads, so you can see a lot. I'm going to go to their project center. I'll click the arrow there and go down to what they call design and buy. Click that arrow and I want to go to a deck since it's springtime, thinking about some yard work and so forth, and I'm going to kind of walk you through designing a new deck for your house. You guys are going to have to enter some parameters on your own when you go through to do that. So once I get to their online deck store, all I have to do is click on Start Designing. And first thing you need to do is select the store. So I'm just going to type in our zip code. So we'll go ahead with Champaign store. And as you can see, I kind of will walk you through all of this. So I've got all sorts of different shape options that it lets you choose from, so that you can kind of put stuff in. Now for me, so I have a choice here of a deck like this. My wall that I'm attaching it to on the back of my house would basically be referenced as this wall here. So, and it'll give you a point later on where you do that. So, but in this case, maybe I might want to do a design like this. Maybe I could go out with something like this where I kind of extend that out. Kind of depends on what you want and what you're looking for. There's all sorts of different shapes here. Maybe you just kind of want something like this, which is actually, I think for what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a deck that is something along this line. So once you have that, then you need to set some dimensions. Now for me, I have a 18 or 20 foot deck on the back, so I'm going to change that to 20 feet. And in this regard, my deck kind of comes about about 4 feet off. That's about right. And we're gonna bring this back because that is roughly on mine. I'd have to go measure it, but I'm gonna say that that is basically 16 feet there. Yeah, that 2 foot, that doesn't quite seem right. So let me back that back up a little bit. We're gonna make that 14 feet. There, I want you guys to take some exact measurements if you have an existing deck, to kind of do your existing deck. If you don't have an existing deck, then you can kind of design on your own there. So now the other part that I have here that I need to take, I am definitely larger in this regard too, so I can use my mouse and zoom in and out. So I'm gonna make this 16 feet. I got basically a 16 foot by 20 foot deck that I'm going to put here on my house. So, and that gives me 5 foot 8 inches. I think I'm going to go over a little bit more. That's a little bit wide. 4 foot 4 inches on the opening there. That's a little bit better. I like that. 2 foot there with that. That's kind of more like what my existing deck is. So from there, once I get the shape and the dimensions on the deck set, I just click continue. Now notice this is the direction for the deck board. Now I'm going to tell you currently my deck boards run basically parallel with the back wall of my house. That was the way it was set up. I'll tell you, one of the things that I don't like about that deck is with the slots and the way that runs. A lot of times I got a door right here, and when we get heavy rain pours, sometimes the rain comes off and the gutters overflowed if it's got leaves and stuff in there, and it kind of comes through here, and I've in the past gotten water coming back through into the house. So for me, a change that I would make to the deck would be to change the alteration of those deck boards into where they're perpendicular to the back house of the part of the wall. That way, and I would probably put a slight slope so that any water on that deck is going to run off just a little bit, and it's just going to be a minor type slope on there, just to get water to move so that water rolls off down here instead of kind of coming this way and up against the back wall of my house. So once you've decided on that, on your board placement, just go ahead and hit next. So now, here is where you will attach a wall. So I had mentioned that the 20 foot, that's where I'm going to attach a wall to the back of my house. If you want your deck, say, attached over here on this side, or this side, you can attach that wall wherever. You can make it an unattached wall. That's going to cause some other things to go in there, but for the most part, generally, when I do a deck, I like to go ahead and have the attached wall option. So I will attach it on there. If you wanted to change there, you can just kind of click. So to select the attached walls that way. So I don't want that one there, so I'm going to unclick that. We'll continue this way. All right, stairs. So I definitely want some stairs, and I'm going to put those stairs right there. So there's my stairs. Continue on. Now it's going to ask me the height. Now at this point, this deck is 4 foot above ground level, so that's too high for me. Mine, I'm only going to put this deck basically about, well, I want it to be, so about 2 feet above. Yeah. Have some patience with it as you're working it. So you might miss it as you're kind of clicking and zooming in on there. So my deck height is going to be 2 feet above ground. So we'll continue on. I do want railing. So you'll put railing on every part there that you need it at. Continue. All right, now this is where we are getting into all the particulars of the material. So you can kind of see a three-dimensional view of the deck. Notice I still have a wall that's adjoined there over on that side too, so that you can get there. And this is where we're really getting into a lot of information. And notice where I've got an estimated price here on this. So I can choose several different types of products. So AC2 green treated ply or treated wood. I got this AC2 cedar tone treated. So I got red cedar. A lot of decks are cedar, but now notice the price here. The estimated price is $3,575 for a cedar deck versus $2,912 for a green treated type of deck. And of course you got different types of composites. There's all sorts of other types of materials now that are being used, but we're just going to go with the traditional green treated, this is pressure treated lumber that we're going to use to build this deck. So select that and click next. Now it's asking you for the type of deck boards that you want. And I can use a traditional deck, but maybe I want to upgrade a little bit, have a nicer finish on that. So I'll go ahead with the 5/4 by 4 select deck. Now that 5/4, this is where you need to remember that's going to be 4 inches wide, or the 6 inches wide here for your deck. And 6 is probably the more common on deck materials, so we'll go ahead and go with that. Hit continue. Type of fastener that you're going to use, and you notice all the different ones. You're given this 6 lobe point, so you got a stainless steel square drive, you got your tan square drive. Now some of this is going to depend on whether you want to see it or not when you're building it, but for me, I'm going to use these tan premium exterior deck screws. I like that square driver in there. It's nice and solid, helps to drive those screws into that pressure treated wood with the right type of driving bit. So go ahead and hit continue. Again, so this is your frame. I'm going to stick with the same material that I used before, the AC2 green treated. Hit continue. And now on this is our joists. So it's asking us for our joists, do we want to use 2x8s, 2x10s, 2x12s? Now, the thing that you want to remember, the 2x12 is going to give you a lot stronger deck, going to be able to hold a lot more weight. So your decision between 2x12s and 2x8s is really going to depend a lot on what the weight load, remember we talked in the past about dead loads and live loads, what that load is going to be on this. So for me, it's just my family and I that are walking around. I got my grill out there, so I just need 2x8s. So I'll select that, hit continue. And again, now it's the beam. So same thing with the beam, 2x8. So, and your framing post. Now, again, this depends on how structurally strong you want this to be. So 6x6 framing post is a very, very big post. Pretty uncommon to see that in your deck builds around here, especially if they're not really intended to, or if they're not real high up off the ground. So, and mine's not high off the ground, so I'm going to go ahead with the 4x4 framing post. I don't even need the 4x6. Go ahead and continue. Again, fastener type, you're only given the one here. Now, sometimes depending on what option you select, that also kind of puts in different types of options that you can choose as you move through here. So here we go. I can go ahead. I want to probably, what this is between your 12-inch poured footing and 8-inch poured footing and 16-inch poured footing. That's the depth of how far in you're going to put those posts. Now, you would need to check on the building code in whatever township or wherever you are at to see what the requirements are for the building code on this. I don't know exactly what is in Monticello's. I'd have to go up to the courthouse and kind of check on that myself. But let's just say I'm out in the country somewhere and I can go real cheap where I just dig a hole myself and dump some bags of concrete in it, mix it around to bury that post. Or I can use one of these footings. In this case, I am going to use just an 8-inch poured footing. These come in tubes, makes it a little easier to put that in and help keep that tube, or keep those posts nice and square and plumb to the arrows. So we'll go ahead with that. Hit continue. Okay. All right, it's asking for how deep we want. We'll just go ahead 24 foot deep. And now it's asking what type of joist hangers. Just go with the galvanized joist hangers. They're most common, I think. Joist hanger fasteners. See, it's giving you everything that you're going to need in order to build this. Now we're moving on to the different types of railing. So, again, you can play around. Notice as you change some of these, it will change your view, so you get a little idea of what different types of railings and so forth might look like. I'm just going to keep with the AC2 pressure treated type railing. So, and you got different types of ways that this, and appearances that's going to look on this here too. So your vertical handrail, and you can zoom in and see how all of these kind of line up, so you can read some more information there on it. I'm just going to do a traditional railing. So, and continue. And this is our spindle. So now, again, architecturally speaking, this is kind of where you can start to put some personal type of elements, design elements, to make it look different ways. So they've got different types. You can just do your square spindle, what's referred to as a colonial spindle. Here's a classical spindle. So I'm going to do the classic spindle. Continue. We do want this handrail. We'll go with the 2x6 flat handrail. And next, it's the graspable handrail. This handrail is for the stairs. Now, for me and my family, I don't need an additional handrail to grab hold of. I've got that handrail, which is fine enough for me. But certainly, if you have certain people with disabilities, or if you need to be ADA compliant or something like that, you might have to put a graspable handrail on there as well. So, but for right now, I'm just going to select none. This is my personal one, so I don't need that. So your deck posts, again, this is going to give you different types of finials at the top. So notice that this, as I select these, the top of these posts kind of look different. So I'm going to go with the turned deck post. Those are architectural styles. So, and I'm going to go ahead and put a ring down here at the base. Excuse me, sorry. And again, that's just an architectural design element that I want just to make my deck look a little fancier. It's also going to end up costing me a lot more money, but sometimes you pay for it now. Here's your joist mount. And then the deck flashing. Now, flashing kind of helps with waterproofing, and they say it makes your deck last a little bit longer. So notice the price without deck flashing is $2,776. If I come in here with deck flashing, it's probably only going to add $2,863. So let's say $863 versus $776. So you're about $90 more on it to add deck flashing. That's a design that every homeowner is going to have to decide. You know, is it worth that extra $100 on your deck to get 5 more years of life expectancy out of your deck? Yeah, it probably is. So I'm going to go ahead and include that when I build it. Either way, this deck should give me a good 15, 20 years. So, and then lastly, here we've got this lattice. Now, the lattice is going to go underneath it. You certainly don't want any varmints or other animals hiding out underneath your deck, or nesting down in there, digging, burrowing, doing anything. So it's always best to put something up there to kind of block that in. So I'll just do this treated privacy type lattice. Get that in there. And I have now completed my deck design. So there you go. So to take a look at it, we'll zoom out. So I'm going to reset the camera here, and you can kind of zoom in and out. So that shows you just your frame. So what that's going to look like. So click back on for the full deck. I'm going to reset my camera somewhere over here. Notice now I can kind of pan and zoom around and get a different idea of what this is going to look like. So as I have that built up, I don't know about you, it's looking like a pretty nice deck to me. Now, going ahead and we'll talk a little bit about this more, but to continue here, first thing that I want you to do is just to kind of create and capture a screen capture of this. So if you just have a snipping tool, just or some type of screen capture device, just grab this as a screen capture showing that estimated price. As I continue this, so it will move me through, and I will get this as well. So an estimated price on that. If I add all of this to a cart, so it's going to kind of go through and should give me a bill of material list on all of this. Now, in order to do that, you do have to be signed in to Menards. So use your school account to kind of create a Menards account, and you'll be able to use all these features. So, and of course, at this point they're experiencing some problems. So I'll come back a little bit later. We'll take a look at it. You can save this in your project center too. So make sure that you save it. Then you can come back at it at any time and put it through. So again, as you walk through, do some screen captures of it so that you can see everything that's needed. Go ahead and give me a total price of the deck that you are looking at as well. As always, if you have any questions whatsoever, shoot me an email. Let me know. I'll be glad to get back with you if you want to Zoom one-on-one together so that I can walk you through it that way. I'm always open to do that too, so just let me know. Anyway, email me if you've got questions. I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.